face, front true believers. Welcome to the Pitch Nerds. We are the weekly show where two nerds get up early and dress in our comfies to bring you the latest in nerdy news, reviews, and pitches. I'm Cap, and joining with me today is always best friend and fellow nerd and Norway's up-and-coming pop sensation, Mr. Frosty. Mr. Frosty, how are you doing?
What up? I'm wearing my badass coffee t-shirt. Not a sponsor, but if they want to sponsor us, we would love that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Official
my
coffee of
favorite
the
coffee.
Pitch Nerds. I have Dunkin' Donuts coffee, still my favorite.
I don't have their coffee. I mean, but every once in a while I go there and I get their coffee. It's my favorite coffee place. If you ever go to one, I know you don't like iced coffee, but like for people that do, they put the ice cubes are made out of coffee.
Ooh.
So that way if you're drinking it over a period of time, when it melts, it doesn't water down your drink.
Ooh.
Yeah, which I think is cool.
That's
and
awesome.
and then my favorite drink there, if you ever try it, is I like the monkey mocha, and they make that in all. You can get it as a hot coffee, you can get it as a frappuccino, you can get it as an iced, whatever you want.
What makes it
But
monkey?
it's banana and dark chocolate.
Ooh. Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty tasty. Except like, okay, like I'm gonna call out this guy. There's one kid that works there.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, what the hell, man? Learn to make a cup of coffee. Like, like both me and my sister that go there, we both like bitch about it because like the he puts like 3 times the amount of syrup in it.
Right.
So like I take a sip. I always like look to see if he's working and trying to figure out if he's making the coffees. And if he is, I always say half sweet because like it's like, what the hell is that guy's thinking? Like nobody else does it. It's just that guy. Like
I love how you spotted that. So you know what it is with me? The drink that people seem to, what I've observed, make not wrong, just not good, or just off out of ratio, are Long Island's and like margaritas for some reason. I don't know how you can fuck up a margarita. I have a small following of regulars that come to me just for my margaritas, and I like that. But one of the drinks as a bartender that's really easy to fuck up is a Long Island, because it's all the booze, but it's learning how to ratio that with the sour mix and the Coke. If you do it right, you'll taste the alcohol, but it won't be as knocking.
it's
the
not
teeth.
like overpowering.
It's not
Yeah.
overpowering, and that's usually how I can tell how good the bartender is if I ever feel inclined to order a Long Island. I take a first sip and it just. Ugh.
I was at a country club once, and my drink is Kahlua and cream. And
that is called a sombrero.
No, I did not know that. I just say Kahlua and cream because
Yeah.
I don't really. I know you can add vodka, but like, no thanks.
Ugh.
Um,
That would be your. Come on.
oh,
Russian?
that's a White Russian.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, so I just ordered Kahlua and cream. But I was at a charity thing for PKD at a country club, and I ordered a Kahlua and cream, and I watched the bartender. I assume he thought he was hooking me up, but I was just like, I like a lot of cream, not a lot of Kahlua. And I just watched him just go Kahlua, 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 Kahlua. And then he got out the cream and he went, cream. Boop. And I was just like,
oh.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm too British to say anything though, so I just walked away feeling sad.
Yeah, more alcohol doesn't mean a better drink. People seem to confuse that. Balance makes a good drink, and I tell people that at the bar. When the other day some kid asked, "Make me your strongest drink," and I said, "Well, define that, because anything could be the strongest drink. It's just a matter of how long I dead weight it. Tell me, be more specific. Like what? Clearly, you want to get effed up a little bit, but I'm gonna.
Couldn't you just grab the strongest like hard alcohol and just that?
Right, but I mean that's boring. That is. I would be ashamed of myself if I did that. Actually, I had a guy yesterday who asked for, give me the strongest drink you can make me. So I poured him an IPA, which is like a 9.5. So it's the same thing. But I ended up making him an Irish trash can, which is just a monstrous drink. It's all it's a fruity drink, but you throw all the fruit in there, and it's like a greenish drink, and you float it with cranberry juice and a can of Red Bull, and then as you drink it, the colors kind of blend together, and it turns into like a gross brown color, and you have all the fruit floating in it, so it looks like a trash can. So I made him that. It's a fun little drink.
I think we were at a wedding and you suggested I try this. It was the worst shot I've ever had. It was, I think you called it like an alien something.
Oh, the alien secretion. Yes.
That thing is awful.
I mean, it tasted good. It's more of a textural thing, but yes.
Yeah, it's definitely a textural thing. I was just like, at first it was fine, and then I hit the brick in the middle, and then I was just like, oh god.
Oh, God. Yeah. There's a lot of fun stuff that I can do as a bartender. It's fun. Anyways, my goodness, what do we have going on today? We're talking about this week on Behold Nerds. We're talking about 65. We have Battle Nerds. We're putting Bender versus Conan. A bunch of nerdy stuff.
Conan. Conan is a guy that hosts a late night talk show. Conan is a barbarian.
Conan, warrior without fear.
The animated one. That song is forever like burned into my brain. Like neural pathways have been set. Like I will never forget that song as long as I live.
You know what made that show great is that it had a beginning, middle, end. Remember when
I never got to see the end of it. Like I know kind of what happened, but I never got to see the full end to it.
Right.
I was living in the UK, and like they weren't very consistent with it. They just kind of shoved out whatever episodes. It was never in order and stuff like that. Which was annoying, but it mostly was fine because most shows they were,
self-contained, episodic,
self-contained stories that kind of went to an overarching story. So it kind of pieced it together eventually, but
all right.
Yeah. Looks like, anyway, so, shall we start with, nerdy news?
All the news. We are the nerdy news source. We are infallible.
We're the Nerdy News Network. It seems to be what most people like about our show. So I definitely try and get the latest stuff and procure a list. Okay, so top of the list, we have some information on the upcoming Captain America New World Order. Apparently, it's going to, I don't know if they're going to be the main villains, but they're definitely going to be villains in it. It's going to be, it's going to have the Serpent Society in it.
Yeah, so remember when they teased us back for Captain America 2, originally when they announced it, it was going to be Captain America and the Serpent Society, and everybody was like, yay! And they're like, just kidding, Winter Soldier, and everybody's like, blah! So that's a nice little callback, I suppose, to that. But I mean,
yeah, and I mean, like, okay, so Serpent Society, I know them as a group.
Right.
I couldn't really pick out any individual member. They all have names like Hammerhead, Blackadder,
right?
And, things like that. Yeah, and so Copperhead, not Hammerhead. Yeah, but that's my point. Like, but we do know that two actors that are going to be in it. So WWE superstar Seth Rollins is going to be one of the Serpents.
Okay.
Serpent Men, Serpent Society-ians, whatever you want to call them.
Okay.
And the other one is going to be Rosa Salazar. You may recognize her from, she was the star of Alita Battle Angel.
Okay.
Which, man, that was a good movie.
I didn't see it. That's the James Cameron one, right?
I can't remember who directed. It's an anime that they adapted into a movie, and it's very much, you can see it's like several anime stories slammed together to make one. And if you watch the anime, it follows the same basic story premise.
Right.
I mean, it's a little bit different, but the same thing. Doctor with the hammer that's got the fucking what do you call it? Rocket on the end. I
Right.
mean, a rocket hammer is just awesome weapon. It's so
It's stupid.
unpractical though.
It's
But
like in
it does,
Pacific Rim where he builds up the punch and like little rockets come out and it's stupid.
but it
But
makes
it really,
sense with a hammer on the end of a stick.
I I guess. I
Because if you
mean,
were to swing it and then you can only generate so much power through your own muscles,
right.
but all of a sudden you've got a jet engine doing it. You're just holding on to the end of the
That
pivot.
would shatter every bone in your body if you held on to that.
Well, I mean, you would have to do it loosely. You're just holding on to it and allowing it to
To
do the
just
work for you.
right. That
Why it's
that seems
kind of
terrifying.
dumb is because if you miss, it'll just overshoot
Right.
and then you're completely open. That's the problem with it. But I love anime weapons that are dumb and I mean, the Buster Sword is one of the coolest swords in fiction.
Yeah, it's an airplane
But
weapon.
it's completely stupid once you apply logic to it.
it,
Um,
it's the wing of a small Cessna, just with a hilt. There's
yeah,
the sword.
well, and if you think if you swing it, your feet you would come right off your feet. It's not even a matter of how strong you are. It's it's just momentum and everything.
Yeah.
There's countless videos on YouTube breaking it down why this thing is just completely unpractical.
Well, of course.
But it's awesome.
But it's awesome.
Who cares?
Right. Shut
And
up.
I feel that way about rocket hammers. But Elite is a cool movie.
Just shut up and let me enjoy it.
Yeah, Elite is a cool movie. I recommend checking it out if you haven't.
Mm.
But anyway, so yeah, Serpent Society, we know those two are going to be serpents. And also I think we also know, right, that it's going to be following Sam Wilson's Captain America.
I like it. I like his Captain America.
Can I just say I'm sick of Twitter posts where people are like, Sam Wilson is Falcon, Steve Rogers is Captain America. It's like, shut up, man. There's been several Captain Americas. It's not like Doctor Strange,
right?
Where you have to go get a PhD and your last name is Strange,
right?
Like when his daughter took over, it was fine with her taking the name because she has a PhD, and her last name is Strange because that's her dad,
right?
It all makes sense. Everything adds up,
Right. Checks every box. You're clear to go.
But I mean, when it's like Captain America, Spider-Man, any of that stuff, it's like that's not their names, They weren't born and their mom's like, I'm gonna call you Spider-Man. You know what I mean?
I mean, unless you're one of Nick Cage's kids.
Yeah. I mean, I'm saying if that was the case, then maybe I would have an issue if someone came along and said I'm Spider-Man. But I've been seeing this all over Twitter lately. Miles Morales, they're like, Miles Morales is Miles Morales, he's not Spider-Man. And it's like, Peter Parker in his universe died.
Right. It's a mantle.
Yeah, it's a man. He picked up the title. It's like,
right.
Yeah, he's not even from here.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if you have it in your news, but it's related to Marvel stuff. Due to the writer's strike, the Thunderbolts has been delayed.
Yeah, I do. I have some writer's strike stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so not just Thunderbolts, but also Wonder Man. The WGA strike has forced Marvel Studios to indefinitely pause production on both those films.
Yeah.
Which is a bummer. I'm actually more excited for Wonder Man, but I mean, I am excited for Thunderbolts.
You said Josh, what's his name? Josh Gad. What's
yeah, he's supposed to play Wonder Man, which is a weird choice. I mean, are they just gonna are they gonna take a guy who's built like me and then go
now you're Superman.
Our Miracle or Marvel I mean, they are miracle workers. I would be like that guy that I forget his name, but he was in the movie that didn't do well with the what's it called with the
Eternals,
the hand,
huh? The Eternals.
Eternals, yeah, that guy. The Indian guy.
Yeah.
He got the Marvel body, and then he hired his own photography people to take shots of him, and people were like, "Oh, you're so vain." He's like, "I'm never gonna have this body again."
Right.
Let
him enjoy it. Damn it.
fair enough, dude. Like, I mean, he did look like amazing. I
God, he was
mean,
fucking shredded in that movie.
yeah, yeah. It will be interesting, but yeah. So I'm interested. I'm bummed. I mean, yeah, it was gonna happen. We knew we
Right.
were gonna start feeling
The
the other film. This isn't Marvel, but Blade Runner 2099, another film that I've been looking forward to. It's been postponed until the writer strike ends with fair pay and condition for the writers.
mm-hmm.
They're very much on the right. Seems like pretty much everybody other than the studios is on the side of the writers.
Of course.
Um,
It's you know what it is with the rise of the AI, just chatbots that they can.
AI and streaming,
Yeah. So
and there's
it's
other things too. They're not getting paid for it. There's a lot.
right.
Hey, I don't know if you ever have a chance. Look at their request and look at the writers.
Mm.
Like at the studios thing, like they want to get. There's something about AI, and they're like, oh, we need fair pay there, and like they were like, what if we have a meeting instead, once a month? Yeah, that'll put
Yeah.
bread on your table. I mean,
Right. Oh, studios.
yeah. Anyway, I personally am full support of the writers. I hope they get what they want, and the studio should pay them out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sick of this whole.
It's gone on for a lot longer than I thought it would.
There was already. Do you remember the previous writer strike that lasted for a while?
That was, oh my goodness, when was that? That, that
I,
that's that's been a
there
while.
was a while back. It was funny because I can't remember which. Oh, it was Colbert.
Mm.
When it ended, Colbert was like, he's like, "Well, it's over." So, um, he invited everybody back, and like he was like, and he was like, shaking the hands of all his writers. But then he had like celebrities mixed in, and like Kevin Bacon. He's like, "Welcome back, Kevin." Like, it was so funny though because like during it, it was like him and John Stewart,
Mm-hmm.
like because they had nothing to do, so they were just like they would talk to each other, and they're like, "So what are you gonna do?" And he was like, "I don't know, make fun of liberals, I guess."
Own the libs.
Yeah, well, because Colbert's
Yeah,
show was
yeah,
parody and everything.
yeah. That's funny.
Anyway, for those of you probably are aware of it if you subscribe, HBO Max is now officially Max.
Yes.
This is due to the merger of Warner Brothers and Discovery. I was pissed off because so I'm at dialysis and I'm like, I can't wait, gonna watch me some Shazam. And I go to open HBO and it's like, you have to have Max now. And I was like, I don't give a shit that you changed your name.
Mm-hmm.
Why I got to do this? I looked it up and it's because they were combining the catalogs. So they needed a whole new app, I guess.
Right.
But the annoying thing is it doesn't seem to work on Chromebook. So I just couldn't watch Shazam that night. I was so pissed.
Oh, that sucks.
I waited until midnight and everything. And at midnight, I have an hour and a half left of dialysis. So I had just enough time to watch the movie.
Mm.
And yeah,
That sucks.
I was pissed off. What do you guys think? I already bitched out HBO on Twitter over this.
I'm sure they.
And I pulled
you.
the dialysis card. I was like, I'm at dialysis. God damn it.
I mean, it works. It won.
Sometimes
it won you a tote bag. Remember?
Well, yeah, that's true. I did get a thank you again. God, what's it called? Not the Walking Dead, but it's the survival game.
Yeah.
The mobile game.
Mm.
Thank you again for my awesome tote bag. It's not just a tote. I got a whole survival backpack and bag full of survival rations and stuff, and a hat.
That's
which
awesome.
I now use to put cables in because I don't wear hats. But
that's awesome.
Anyway, also HBO news. HBO's Francesca Orsi confirms they are working deeply on a Jon Snow series to get direct quote, get into shape for potential green light. So it's not even been green yet. But I mean, this guy works with HBO a lot, so it's possible. He says, another direct quote, at this point, no determination on whether we can go all the way or not. whether we can get it to go all the way. What do you think, Jon Snow series, or would you watch it? Are you excited? And
So would it
like,
be
what are your thoughts?
it'd be a sequel too, right?
Yeah, all we know is it's Jon Snow.
So if it's set in the future where the I guess Westeros would be rebuilding itself. Um,
So all I can think of is like I saw a parody of the end of Game of Thrones,
mm-hmm.
and they were like, "Yeah, so we're gonna send you to go live with your dog at the wall," and they think that's a punishment because they're stupid. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. And then he goes back. He's got his dog. He's got his friends back, and
Right.
oh, big punishment. You
Oh
know?
no. um, I I don't know. House of Dragon's been pretty good. So if they were to treat it with the same love, I guess.
So that's the thing. To me, it sounds like a bad idea on paper.
Right.
But I was totally against House of Dragons, and then I
Right.
fell in love with it.
Right.
So, like you said, if they can pull it off, then great.
Right.
On paper, I just think let it. You fucked up.
Right.
Sorry, you ruined everything.
Well, you know, I blame George R. Martin for that one because
He's taking too long to write his books.
Long. And I get it. I'm a writer too, not as good as you, but it takes me forever to write shit. But good Skippy. I mean, when the show catches up to the source material, it's forced to surpass it. Then you're going to have to take some risks. I mean, you're going to have to, and of course,
I just felt like that final season. They were like it's like they felt like the apocalypse was coming, and they had to finish the show before like Friday,
right?
And like because they just like rushed everything,
right?
And because of that, like everything just kind of was like entire previously, someone getting from across Westeros
took months,
was an entire season,
right?
And then they were just like teleporting, or like they unlocked fast travel, I guess.
Yes, because they had already been to that region before.
Yeah, it was. There was, and the thing is, it pulled a Star Wars on me with the Phantom Menace, because like those last few seasons, I was like, no, it's good. Shut up, you know. And then it took me a while to like overcome myself,
right,
and just realize that like, no, this sucks.
I saw Phantom Menace 7 times in the theaters. My brain was trying to put together what it is I was watching.
True because you tried to argue against
yourself.
Yeah,
it's
that thing where you don't want to admit it, you know,
right?
And so you're trying to justify that it was good, but it wasn't good. I mean, there are moments.
There are moments that are good.
Yeah, I can kind of come back, but like I've heard the best way to watch it is to like go straight to the pod race and then go to the fight scenes and then just end the movie there.
Like, I mean, so Phantom Menace is honestly one of my guilty pleasure movies. It's fine. It made me feel in a lot of wrong ways, but
I mean, I have fun with it now. The high ground. Yeah, I guess that's not Phantom Menace, but like, you know, one of my favorite things I saw recently on Instagram is someone made a video. I guess this is about the second one. I posted it to you, but I'll resend it if you didn't watch it. But these two actors, and she's like Anakin, we can't be together, and she like presses him into her boobs.
Oh yeah.
He's like, I'm a senator. Like, like I want to be with you, but we can't. And he's like, like, it's so good.
That's funny. Yeah, I did see that.
But yeah, so I mean, that's what I mean. I think if we were compared the prequels to the sequels anyway,
right?
The prequels sucked, but they sucked in a way that's fun.
Right. There's a charm that I've come to. There's an endearing badness about.
Yeah, but it's a fun kind of like stuff like that. You can, because I mean, that's a parody of what we actually saw.
But I mean, you know what though, as a creator with Quantum, I can look at something like that and realize what Lucas could have done better because he had full control over his baby, and he didn't really allow for anybody else to give him any sort of input. And in the original trilogy, he had his wife and he had other people, Lawrence Kansas, there to help kind of rein him in. And
He needed to have, yeah, I agree with you. He needed to have people, because like there's this thing where like you go, oh, let's give this person full control, and that's not always a good idea.
right,
At the same time, the opposite where they don't have enough control. There's a
there's a
balance, you know what
balance,
I mean?
right? And there's going to come a point where with Quantum, I do expect that, but it's not coming from a bad place. It's just trying to get it to work, I suppose. But it just I think I don't know. George Lucas didn't know what he was doing with the prequels. But again, the reason why I can forgive them is because it was the kid playing with all of his toys by himself,
Yeah.
and this is what we got. Take away from it what you want, but it was he told his story his way, and I admire him for that. There are things that I liked about it. There's a lot of things I didn't like about it, but I can you compare Star Wars to pizza. You have a pizza party, and there's never that piece of pizza that you want, but you might have to pick a couple things off, and it's suitable. So
Mhm.
that's sort of what Star Wars is to me. I might have to pick through some shit, but it's still pizza. It's a beautifully apt metaphor for the Star Wars franchise by Mr. Frosty. Um,
Yeah, I agree. But I think like the prequels are kind of um like the stuff that I like in it is it's like a Bane voice, you know what I mean?
right.
Like
Yeah.
Bane is silly, and
Oh.
but it's really fun to be like, "Roar," you
Yeah.
know, into your coffee cup. And and that's what I mean. Like I think you can have fun with those.
right.
Whereas I don't think there's a lot of fun, with the exception of maybe the first one. I think there's stuff even in the sequels that are
So,
okay.
so,
I think that the worst of the sequels was the third one, in my opinion, to be honest.
so I hated the last. So it was one of those things where I was in denial after I saw it, but my brain had already learned from Phantom Menace to, you know, sniff it out. So there's a very short phase where it's like, oh my god, I really like this, but then it kind of sank in a little bit, and just what they did with Luke, just
But I don't
but
know. I've
so
changed my
if they
mind
if
on the
there's
Last Jedi. I
uh
think the best one is the first one. I think the
yeah,
Last Jedi is unique, and I've learned to appreciate parts of it.
right.
And I think the third one is just garbage.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
because the third one had no real setup. It was on a ramshackle foundation as it was, because they just threw everything out in the second one, and then they had to come back and try to rewrite everything in the third one. So
yeah,
the one character that I hope that they really touch on is Finn, because he was supposed to be what we thought was the main character of that. But I want to know more Finn lore. I think he was the most interesting character out of the that came out of the sequels. Um, I don't know. We'll see. They're apparently we're getting the a Ray Skywalker film coming soon. It's supposed to be set 15 years following the sequels. There's no word that Mark Hamill's going to make an appearance as a Force ghost yet. He's
yeah.
speaking in tongues, but I'd like to see him as a Force ghost.
I mean, sure. I don't know. I think forget the whole line and continue in other stories.
Eh,
Like it's been told, you know.
right.
But anyway, so where were I think we went off on a tangent there. Um, yeah, we did. We went from friggin' Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Little Mermaid. So this is I find amusing because everybody was like shitting on this movie so hardcore.
Yep.
It's doing well. It's tracking to have the fourth highest Memorial Day box office weekend of all time, with 125 million domestically. So the reviews I've heard on it are okay, not
Yep.
as good as the original, which is what I basically thought.
Right.
Uh,
None of the live actions have surpassed the originals. Just
Yeah, but it's hard to. A lot of those were lightning in a bottle situations. They were
Right.
just they were better than they should be, and yeah. I
Right.
don't really have any opinions. It's not something I'm going to go see.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
uh
I think it looks pretty.
if it
Um.
when it comes out on Disney Plus, I'll probably watch it.
Yeah. I heard the one good thing is that the actress who plays Ariel, apparently she's really good at just
Halle Berry or
Halle,
Haley
Haley Berry.
Berry.
Apparently she
Yeah.
is great with the vocals, and there's a lot of emotion.
I've seen a couple of the music numbers, and I thought she sounded good.
Mm.
I have a lot of like. Have you ever like the first movie when you break it down though? There's a lot of issues. Like she was 16 and she signed into a legal binding contract. I don't think so. She should have had her parent or guardian. I mean, like, there's a
True
lot
that.
of things like that in it that I think about when I watch it now.
Hmm.
And and the big one obviously is we can see she can write in English.
Right.
So why didn't she just write a letter to that guy? And then there's I saw a lawyer break down like all the legalese of it and like having all these issues and stuff. It's fun to do that with movies, but yeah, I don't really have any thoughts, but I am enjoying. I don't know why. Maybe I'm an asshole, but like,
A little
I
bit.
just love that the movie's doing well despite like all the hate that it got. Like, anytime, even if I don't like a movie,
Right.
when I just see the internet shit all over it,
Right. And
I
then
just I'm like, oh come on, please, just
just
do really really well. I want this thing to be a giant franchise, like I don't know, man. I guess I spend too much time on Twitter, and I hate these people sometimes. Not our followers. You guys are all awesome and attractive and good at the sex
let
and
the
all those
hatred
things. Anyone that follows us,
flow through you. Yes.
all you have to do is like hit that follow button on
Yes.
any of our things, and you're instantly better looking. I promise you.
Yes.
Like,
Be even better at the sex.
yeah, I mean, and also just throwing this out there. I know this is mid video, but give us a thumbs up if you do. Like, there's a little firework thing that happens.
Yeah, I
It's
noticed that.
really
It's cool.
exciting.
It's like a little yay.
Yeah, it's really exciting, and I'm
What
sure
happens when
you'll
you
enjoy
downvote?
it.
Is it a oh, or is it no automatic?
Well, they don't even list how many down things we get
No,
anymore.
I mean it's all just traffic. That's all that matters. Up or down,
Yeah.
it's traffic.
Anywho, that is true. I mean, it's like, are you joining it or not?
Right.
All right. So, apparently, so John Wick news. Couple of things.
Mm.
I haven't seen John Wick 4 yet.
I
Have
haven't
you?
seen it yet. We really wanted to see it until a movie critic who I likened to a crazy Catwoman gave it a bad review, and
It's had pretty positive reviews overall.
all right, but there's the one reviewer who gave the bad review, and that sort of took the wind out of Mrs. Cap's sails a little bit.
One reviewer did that.
Yes, one reviewer did that. Grumble,
No.
grumble. I know, right? So,
Well, overall, it's had very positive reviews. But the news that I have about said thing, hang on,
so see,
is
like the
that,
expanded universe.
well, we're getting a video game. It's in early development.
Ooh,
To me, John Wick is like the easiest game to translate. I mean, easiest movie to translate into a game
right.
because it's pretty much just a video game, but on screen anyway.
It's just Red Dead Redemption, just with I don't know on PCP.
Oh, we got a couple of thumbs ups. Thank you to whoever did
Yay!
that.
Now downvote us. Refresh the page and downvote us.
But yeah, so we're getting a video game. Well, okay, let me put this to you and anyone watching or anyone that will watch. What would you want your John Wick video game to be? Because it sounds cool.
So
Um,
I envision it almost like Red Dead Redemption, because you know how you have
okay,
the bullet time
yeah,
type deal. So have it be something like that and have it open world, and yeah, almost like remember the Matrix video game that was open world too. I
Yeah,
think.
I would ignore John Wick as a like have him as a character maybe in the universe,
Mm-hmm.
but I would have the story or the game revolve around the hotel and the assassin organization and the coins and all that,
Mm.
and then have you create your own assassin
Oh, that'd be cool.
and yeah, and then kind of have it be like Hitman where you go out on missions, but maybe have like that open world aspect to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a little tired of that complete open world where it's procedurally generated and all that.
Mm.
Like have set pieces that are controlled.
Right.
Can't decide if I would go third or first person. Tempted to go third person, but I understand the appeal of first person.
Especially with something like John Wick.
Yeah, but you could still do a third person
Yeah,
shooter.
yeah. Red Dead is.
I don't know. Like in my opinion, the best shooter is Doom. Not,
Yeah.
I mean the new one.
Right.
Did you play Doom 2016 or
Oh,
Doom
oh
Eternal?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Freaking fast
It
pace. Oh,
was
it was just beautiful.
yeah, yeah,
It
and
felt
then
it had that fluid God of War kind of feel, or like Devil May Cry, where once you get a good rhythm, you just keep going and going and going. It's almost like a masochistic dance, but it's just
or the
gorgeous.
gameplay loop was excellent because you shoot a thing until it's like weakened, and then you run in and then melee it and
Right,
do this awesome like rip off a horn and shove it up its ass or something.
right,
And then and that gave you health.
right.
And then when you needed ammo, you pulled out your chainsaw and you would
Mm,
chainsaw something in half, and
mm,
that gave you ammo. Made no sense, but who cared? It was like the perfect gameplay
right,
loop, you know.
right.
And I just loved it, and I love the fact that you couldn't. So and I'm not to call anyone out, but fellow nerd Joe, he likes first person shooters, but he likes to be like a mile away and then treat it like a shooting gallery. You
Yes.
can't really do that in Doom because they'll just
Yeah,
they'll
they'll
kill you.
murder you.
Doom is a run and gun, and I
Right.
prefer run and gun. And
Running
I
gun's
would
fun.
that's what I mean. I think John Wick would lend itself to a run and gun, and then mixed with melee, but maybe make it like a gun kata style melee where like you run in and then gun against head, boop boop boop.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that would be cool. So
That'd be
something
cool.
along those lines. But I do like the idea of making it where you create your own assassin and you like you know you enter in that world
That
and
is a
all that
great
kind
idea.
of stuff. Also in John Wick news, John Wick 5 is already in early works. So John Wick 4 obviously has done well enough
Mm,
that they're like, yay, more John Wick. And I mean, I'm on board. I enjoyed every John Wick so far. I still think the first one is the best,
right.
but I've enjoyed the others.
Right. Just a
Um,
revenge. Don't
but yeah,
a revenge story about a dog, a man and his dog. That's there's John Wick.
well, but yeah, like let's. I would really be interested to put it out to you guys. What would you like to see in a John Wick video game? And are you excited for John Wick 5? And also, since we haven't seen it, what are your thoughts on John Wick 4? Should Mrs. Cat go see it?
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
let's put a poll out there.
Done.
Also, nerdy news. Oh, we already talked about that. Okay, so jumping down to the bottom of my list, Quentin Tarantino. He recently gave an interview talking about why he's going to stop. You know, he's only doing.
Yeah, he's doing one more movie.
Yeah, he decided he was only going to do. I can't remember the number. I think it was 10 movies, and then he was out. So he says Quentin Tarantino on why he will stop directing movies after his next movie is going to be called The Movie Critic.
Mm-hmm.
Direct quote: "It's just time. It's just time to go. And I like the idea of going out on top. I like the idea of giving it my all for 30 years and then saying, okay, that's enough." I also saw him talking about what he's going to do next. He said mostly writing, like he could still write for movies and things like that. But he was also saying plays, maybe a TV show, things like that.
So he'll still have a presence, just a different kind of presence.
So, well, what are your thoughts? I mean, do you think he is going out on top? Because I saw a lot of people saying he's not. I mean, he's one of my all-time favorite directors. I can't think of a movie he's ever done that hasn't been just fantastic.
Right.
So
No,
I feel like he's going out on top.
he go out on top. He's still gonna have a presence. It sounds like through his writings and whatnot. So just if he doesn't want to direct anymore, just know when to stop. That's a guy who knows how to stop, and that's a hard thing to find these days because people will just want to keep working like Harrison Ford. Stop working. Enjoy your soup.
Well, he's not stopping working, but
Right, but
not.
just shifting gears a little bit.
Yeah, no, I saw this thing where and I mean this is switching to but just about Quentin Tarantino. He posted another interview he did was he was talking about how he doesn't think streaming movies are in the zeitgeist.
Mm.
He said that Ryan Reynolds' recent movie on Netflix made $50 million, but he knows nothing about it. I gotta disagree with him because here's the thing: he likes those classic drive-in movies. You know, he likes this old-time cinema. He likes the back when he did say something that made sense. He said like the characters in Marvel movies are the stars, not necessarily the actors,
Mm-hmm.
and I agree.
Right.
And but I don't think that's necessarily a problem.
No.
And I think he's wrong. I enjoyed Ryan Reynolds' streaming movie. I thought it was awesome. And so I don't know if I agree. Yes, I think we've got more choices now.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have those superstars like you used to.
Mm-hmm.
But because we have more choices, the stuff that I love I can go watch and there's lots of content, you know.
Right.
But yeah, dude, I love Quentin Tarantino. I'm bummed that this is going to be his last film. But if he continues writing, if he makes a show, he does all these things, that's awesome. And I want more Quentin Tarantino all the time. And I wouldn't even care if he decided, you know what, I'm just going to make one more movie. And a lot of people would be like, oh, you said this, but I wouldn't care.
I mean,
Like,
I'm sure there would be a reason why he would do it. He would sort of be self-aware throughout the entire movie if he were to do an 11th movie, because that's just sort of his style.
Yeah. I mean, like, did you ever see that movie? Oh God, what's it called? Four Rooms.
No.
It's set in a hotel, and it follows a clerk,
Mm-hmm.
and a different director takes each room.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's his first night working in a hotel,
Mm-hmm.
and like the first story is a bunch of witches show up, and
yeah. So I haven't seen it, but this is one where the four different directors each tell a story in the
each one tells it, and each one is a different hotel room,
right.
And Quentin Tarantino does one, so like maybe do something like that because like it's not a movie that he did, but he did a scene in a movie,
right?
And the thing about that movie, though, like this is why I always say Quentin Tarantino. I enjoyed each of the stories.
Mm-hmm.
Quentin Tarantino is just the way it's shot, you know, like you have a guy on the phone arguing, you have something going on over here, you have
right.
people talking about this, and then he took this old Alfred Hitchcock movie, and that became the premise. And
he's really good at building scenes and building.
Yeah,
and it feels very worldly. Like there's God, what was I watching? I forget what I was watching, but one of his movies. Oh, it was Kill Bill. I was looking up scenes. He's just really good at building up stuff from Inglourious Basterds. That whole opening, and just how tense it was perfect.
Yeah. No, that's what I mean. Like, I just felt like when I got to his movie or scene,
short,
it was just head and shoulders above the others. And yeah, I just think he's great. I enjoy everything that he does.
Well, he's very visceral with how he creates his
scenes
with people.
You can point out the silliness, like, you know, like all those scenes with feet, for example. Like, the man loves his feet, and I mean,
we get it.
There's aspect. I mean, I don't get it. I don't like feet at all. No. But but you know what I mean, like, and then you see him in interviews and stuff, and you're like, nah, there's some issues here. Like, I don't know if you ever seen it when he's like hanging out with a bunch of African American guys. He starts like doing voices and stuff, and you're just like, it's so cringe. But I kind of don't care because his movies are so good.
Right.
I don't know. What do you guys think of Quentin Tarantino? Let's put it out to everybody. Are you excited to see this next movie? Do you think he's going out on top? And also, would you care if he made another one? And what would you like to see him do? Um, I'd love to know because, yeah, he's definitely one of my all-time favorite directors.
Mm.
Let's see what else. I think that might be it.
That's it. Oh, they started filming Deadpool.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I'm not sure how the writer's strike is going to impact that. I'm surprised he even started filming with the writer's strike, but we'll see.
If it was already written, I don't know.
Right, but usually shit happens and
I
there's
know,
rewrites.
yeah.
But
anyway, so let's move on. Well, so that's all I got in nerdy news. If there's anything you guys like to see us cover or discuss, let us know. And just as a Cap likes to disagree with me on this, but we are not infallible. Let us know if I got anything wrong.
Lies. That is fake news. You Soros-funded human spectrum LGBT.
I don't know if we're fake. We're just
Soviet fear-mongering fleshling that is Frosty. I don't know what I just said.
Anyway,
no, we're infallible.
Shall we jump into some reviews? I have a couple of reviews that Cap hasn't seen yet, so these are going to be spoiler free. So first one, Shazam: Fury of the Gods. It dropped on HBO, so if you have HBO, you can watch it. I watched it the other day, and I had the best time.
It was good.
I loved it. I loved it. There's no other thing I can say. I know people didn't. I didn't do well at the box office. I mean, quite frankly, fuck all y'all. Like, this movie was a blast beginning to end. Is it high art? Like, no. But the villains were fun. The characters are fun.
Did it feel like a comic book?
It's a fun movie. That's the best way I can put it. But it's not like, okay, so like Black Adam. Black Adam I enjoyed and I had fun. But this was fun.
Right.
I had a blast watching. I wasn't ever like, oh, this sucks. That was stupid.
Right.
I never did that. I legitimately just had a grin. It's a family friendly movie. You could bring your kids to. It's less Billy Baxton, more Shazam or Captain Marvel. They still haven't figured out a name. One person, there's a guy who's dressed as like old school comic book Billy Baxton, but as an old guy, and he's like, "Good job, Captain Marvel," and I was like, "Ha," awesome. But yeah, there's an awesome dragon in it, and I like the fact that the characters. I mean, some people hate this stuff, but they are like, they're like, this is dumb, and then he's like, dragon. Well, okay, I'm in now because I mean, on one hand, that's really bad, but on the other hand, dragon. And he's like, I know, right? We can see their lair now, like the Rock of Eternity. They've got like microwaves, and like one guy's like microwaving a hot pocket, and
that's
like
awesome.
They've got like all this stuff, and like one of the characters is mapping the room of doors, and like he puts up all these ratings, like Fairyland E for everyone, and then like Tentacle World, like rated M for mature, like and yeah, it's great. The movie, that's the best way I can describe it. It's fun. I highly recommend going and seeing it if you haven't seen it or seeing it on HBO. I've watched it twice. That's how much I liked it.
Nice.
And that never happens. Like, I don't know, man. It was
fun.
Great.
My youngin loved it.
Okay, like minor spoiler, but because I know you won't care because you'll still have fun. The beginning scene, they're like on a bridge and some shit goes down, and this woman's listening in her car while singing, holding out for a hero. Which I know, like, instant grin on your face. And then her car drops, and then he catches it, and he's like, holy crap, are you listening to this song while I saved you? How cool is that? Like, that's what I mean. It understands. It really has a direct line to my heart, you know?
Well, it's a kid has superpowers. So it's that Spider-Man, it's Miss Marvel, it's that, oh my god, yes, I have superpowers. Like,
Yeah,
if they capture that, then yeah, of course, every kid's always dreamed of what it'd be like with superpowers. It's a movie, they can show it. It's gonna be
yeah,
fucking cool.
there's a good arc with the character, and it picks off of what the old movie did, and I had a great time. When you're done watching doing this, Cap, if you're free, go watch it. You'll have a good time. I
Probably later
guarantee it.
tonight. Oh, I forgot, in DC news, apparently the Flash movie is slated to not have much of an opening. Did you hear about that?
That's what yeah, they were projecting a bigger
Like
opening.
130, 120, and they scaled
Yeah,
it down.
this movie's had hype, and then I don't know. Here's the thing. I think this movie's going to be a hit, and I think and my prediction is this movie's going to be great, and I think it's going to be a hit. And I'm sorry, those of you, but like that are very anti this movie, but fuck you. Can't wait for this movie, and I hope it's great.
Right.
And yeah, I just it looks like a fun time. So, and but my prediction based on a lot of the reviews is that it's going to be really good. Let's see if it gets the box office numbers, because I feel like this Batman Shazam was a really good movie, but it just didn't get the boxes. I understand why though,
Right.
Because the previous Shazam did well with families. And if you look at, so post COVID, not everybody's still gone back to the movies yet. The group that really has not returned to theaters is families.
Right.
And that was a huge chunk of their revenue. So they lost that massive revenue. They're blaming it on the Snyder people, which I don't know how much power they actually have.
It's the internet, so inflated by a lot.
That's what I mean. It's loud, like
right.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I think it may be not as where it was. Who knows? I don't know. I guess the best thing with the Flash is wait and see.
Right. But Michael fucking Keaton, I can't wait to see Michael Keaton again as Batman. Oh my god.
A lot of people are like, "Oh, it should be Christian Bale." I'm like, dude, it's fucking Keaton. What are you talking about? Keaton is probably my second favorite Batman. It goes Connery, then
he's my favorite Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, because I mean, Connery was definitely Batman the whole time, never really Bruce Wayne.
Oh yeah,
even when he was Bruce Wayne, it still was Batman.
Right. I mean, Conroy is different. He's on a different plateau.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, as far as the live action goes, I would say that Michael Keaton was the best of the Bruce Waynes. Just because he's always detached, like even in scenes where he's supposed to be engaged with other people, he's just he's elsewhere.
Yeah, his mind. Yeah, he's definitely, and he also is very much an everyman.
Right.
Whereas, like some of the others, they don't feel like that. Whereas Keaton, if he wasn't a celebrity, you feel like you could just walk by that guy on the street.
Right.
But yeah, Bat Keaton is my favorite of the live actions by far. Both in and out of the suit. But definitely my favorite Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
I didn't dislike some of the others. Like I think Batfleck was great. But yeah,
I think he was a good Bruce Wayne, like an older Bruce Wayne. I didn't like his Batman.
I didn't dislike it. It was its own thing. I mean, obviously, it was shocking when I saw him driving around in the Batmobile, just mowing dudes down. And then I didn't get the whole he brands people and then they get killed in prison. Like he went up against Batman. Like, why are prisoners going to kill you? It didn't make any sense to me. Maybe I'm sure someone can explain that to me, because
why don't you reach out to one of the Snyder fans?
Yeah. Hey, I mean, I am a Snyder fan. I'm just not to that level,
Right.
And I think you are too. I mean, like
I'm indifferent.
I love a lot of his movies. The only movie I didn't like was Watchmen.
300 is still my favorite.
My favorite's probably Sucker Punch, because I think that movie is kind of brilliant. but yeah, and I think it looked cool, and there was some cool stuff, and, and it had a little bit of everything.
Mm.
Although I think that one was like did the poorest critically. You know what's funny is Snyder's most successful movie.
Mm.
The screenplay was written by James Gunn,
Right.
which it's like, and yet they hate James Gunn. Like, I mean,
Is that
I don't know.
the Day of the Dead one, right?
Yeah, Dawn of the
No,
Dead.
Dawn of
Yeah,
the Dead. Yeah, that was a great fucking movie.
it was cool. Yeah,
It was
I
a great
agree.
movie.
All right, so yeah, so that's my review of Shazam: Fear of the Gods. Just shut him, take my money. We'll probably talk about it more once Cap sees it.
Mm.
Also, in spoiler-free reviews, I finally saw Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. You can rent it for $6 on Prime.
Mm.
Holy crap, was this movie fun!
Nice.
Holy crap! It exceeded my expectations.
Right.
It's kind of like an MCU movie where it's comedy with action and stuff like that.
Right.
But they got the humor spot on, especially if you play the game.
Right.
So many references.
Mm.
So many references. If you know the game and the lore of the game, you'll be like, "Ooh, look at that! Ooh, look at that! Ooh, look at that!"
Right.
Like as Tam is the villain. The Lord Never Remembers in it. The old school D&D cartoon, remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Those characters show up.
Nice.
Yeah, there's
Do they have the little unicorn, or was it the flying horse, the Pegasus?
But it's definitely them. They're 100%. They look identical.
Right.
They don't really talk, and and it's their older, instead of it being a little kid, he's like older now.
Right.
The barbarian character,
Mm.
but it's definitely them. They're dressed identical, and they're their own group. Their own adventuring party. And like spells, magical items, the whole thing. It's just chock full. It's like someone took D&D lore and they just stuffed it into it. And then they took all the stuff that you make fun of when you're playing D&D that is kind of silly and stupid and all that, but you still have fun.
Right.
And they shoved that into there and they made that the comedy. And then the story itself is great. It's this fun adventure.
Did anybody at any point roll a 1 on their dexterity or acrobatics?
Well, they're not rolling dice, dude.
Well, you know what I mean, just metaphorically in the movie where they're doing a thing.
But they don't bring in dice mechanics. But I mean, the things that are silly that you would laugh at are definitely
like
prevalent.
Failing to pick the door, or failing to spot the thing, stuff like that.
Not to my knowledge, but again, I don't know how you would do that. Like, the classes aren't perfect. Like it's less that, but it's more about the lore and the comedy involved in it. And yeah, they knocked it out of the park with this one. Just shut up and take my money, no question. I really hope they make more. I don't know how well they did on this one box office because I know that determines everything. But yeah, it was a blast. Highly recommend seeing this, especially if you like D&D. But it was the kind of movie that even if you weren't, like, I recommended my sister watch this. She has, even though she has no interest in D&D, it's just a fun movie and it's funny,
Is it
so yeah,
Vox Machina vibes at all? A little bit?
No,
it's its own thing.
It's its own thing. Yeah, I mean, like Vox Machina, like the main characters, like they don't have super specific roles. Like you can kind of feel like, okay, one thing that there's a paladin. Okay,
right.
That guy definitely is a paladin. Like, and some of the jokes with the paladins are definitely prevalent because paladins are kind of like the ha ha kind of characters, and he's definitely that.
Right.
The one girl, she's barbarian, played by that girl from Fast and Furious,
Michelle Rodriguez.
Yeah, and her character's great. Does she die? Ruined at one point. It gets like dipped into like fire, and then she pulls it out, and it's all melted, but in this awesome thing. She's like, "Yeah, I'm cool with that." And like and then you find out that she has a thing for like halflings, and she's all giant compared to them.
That's awesome.
And yeah, like I said, it's a really great movie. Highly recommend it. All right, well, let's move on to one that we've both seen. Unicorn Warriors Eternal. Although you're not totally caught up, so
apparently I'm an episode behind.
Yeah. So, but anyway, this is oh god, I can never say it. I fuck up names all the time.
Gendy
So I was fucking up. Thank you.
I got it.
I fucked up Conroy earlier, and I called it Conroy.
Yep.
It's always going to happen with me. Just I accept it. Feel free to make fun of me. I don't care. But Unicorn Warriors Eternal. We had a couple more episodes drop. What did you think, and where are you at? Like, what's the last thing that happened?
So, last episode I saw was with the nine-tailed fox. And they chased the character who's just the shrouded figure. Turns out that she's the fox character that the monk was seeing in his ethereal realm. So I saw that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I'm
at. It's great. I think some of the only weakness I see is some of the dialogue is a little choppy. Like they're not actually talking to each other. They're saying things and reacting.
Yeah.
But at the other hand, it's been kind of a roller coaster ride. They haven't really had an opportunity to sit down and
there's been no breathing room yet.
Yeah, there hasn't, but it works with the show.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there is some breathing room, but it's not with them interacting with each other. But we are getting
more
kind of the mystery of the show revealed.
Mm-hmm.
Which is cool. I mean, I'm definitely digging what we're getting. Put some notes. So, well, first off, we find out Winston is alive,
mm-hmm.
which we were talking about last week. We thought maybe he was dead.
No.
And he's
just fine.
Sort of. He's definitely a core part of the story now. I don't know if you saw this. I don't know what episode it happens, but did you see where he tries to like get on that ship?
Yeah. That was the one that I left off at.
Yeah, so he gets bitten by, and so I guess they've decided to give him powers because now he clearly is going to become a werewolf. The story seems to mostly be revolving around Emma and Melinda and their kind of dichotomy.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, I wish you were caught up because I have like a lot of thoughts and predictions, and we got a major reveal in the last one as to who is behind this green energy that they've been fighting throughout time. And so yeah, I don't really know what to say without you seeing the latest episode.
You said enough.
Huh?
You said enough.
Yeah, well, it's an amazing show. If you haven't seen it, hopefully Cap will get caught up because I want to discuss it so bad.
I thought it dropped on Sundays. I was going to watch it tonight. That's when I've been tuning.
Yeah, it looks like it drops every Friday. So, but yeah, we found out what the green energy is. It looks like the fox is its own entity, so I'm not sure how it ties. And we understand how it ties to Merlin and everything like that. And I think I know why Copernicus chose them, because we find out that there were people that have like they're descendants
of the yeah.
And they're like, oh well, why weren't we picked to be these people?
Right.
And I think we know why Copernicus picked others. And so yeah, it's great. I love these shows where it's a mystery and it's revealed and everything like that. And
I think Titan did a really good job of that too. It's just
by the way, there's talk of Symbiotic Titan coming back.
Yes. So for those who don't know, I am one of the admins of the Save Symbiotic Titan Facebook page, where oh my goodness, it was wonderful because so many fans. We led a campaign to write Cartoon Network directly, and Cartoon Network actually responded to the admins. They didn't respond to me because I didn't put a return address, but other admins of the page actually got a letter hand signed by I forget who the dude's what name was at the time. He used to be the CEO, but they actually got a letter from him acknowledging our presence, which was cool. So this is a show that desperately needs to come back quickly. World needs Titan. Your fans are ready.
I watched a few episodes of Symbiotic Titan. I've not seen the entire series. I think I stopped watching it on the episode that I was like, wait, this is a kid show with the where the scene where the girl is
Doing the booty
shaking her.
quick it.
Yeah, yeah, jump and make it booty quick it, something like that.
Down. Yes.
Yeah, that. Though I had one issue though, and that was in that I had two issues with that episode that had stuck out in my mind forever. When they eat and their mouths are, and I'm like chew with your mouth closed.
There's no
monsters.
chewing movement. Yep. You know who's really good at drawing animated mouths chewing? Or Bob's Burgers. Those animators are really good at like showing the chewing movement.
But the booty quake it song,
yeah.
When she's dancing around the room,
there's no physics.
Like she grabs onto a lamp and she spins around it,
right?
And she weighs nothing. There's no weight. There's no, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like when you learn animation, you learn things like stretch and pull, and then you learn things like weight. Like when your character lands, they should like buckle and then get back up.
Right.
And a lot of times stuff doesn't get that right, and they just go boop. And or like in Terminator, one of the what's the Dark Fate, for example. The whole opening scene I think is brilliant. The movie I don't think is brilliant overall, but I think the opening up until like when Sarah Connor shows up, I think it's awesome. However, when the Terminator like leaps and goes up and grabs scaffolding and stuff like that, nothing is moving, and he should weigh a lot, you know?
Right.
And that's what I mean. And we're in the first Pacific Rim, they got it right. The robots.
Yeah, they're clunky and
they're not clunky. It's just when something's that big, even though it's moving fast, it looks like it's moving slow.
Right.
Whereas in the second Pacific Rim, they're moving like ninjas.
They're just Gundams.
Yeah, but it's like you're giant robots. You can't move like that, you know? Like there's a thing called mass, and like it takes a while. The more mass, the more it takes to accelerate energy.
It.
Yeah, exactly. It drove me crazy. It stops looking real. They no longer look like giant building-sized robots moving around. It looks like a CGI thing, you know?
Right.
But anyway,
but yes, bring back Titan.
Yes, that's where we were. The show I would love brought back is my favorite giant robot show, Megas XLR.
Of course.
I just love Megas XLR. I think that show is brilliant, and I'm so bummed that we didn't have more of it.
Right. That was on Nickelodeon, right?
That was Cartoon Network.
Was it Cartoon Network? Yeah, that was Cartoon Network.
Anyway, so do we have any other reviews? You see anything you wanted to throw out there?
Not really. I've just been buried in quantum and work.
All right, well, we got our Behold Nerds pick, but shall we jump into Battle Nerds just to mix it up?
Yeah, let's do Battle Nerds. Let's do it.
All right, so Battle Nerds is our weekly game. It's going to be over in 39 weeks. We'll have to come up with something else. Where we created a list of 100 iconic characters. We random roll to see who we get, and then we have to come up with a convincing argument as to why our character would win. We then put up polls, and we let you guys vote to see who you thought won the debate. Last week was Spider-Man versus the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yes. Holy smoke! Did this? There was a lot of votes on. There's a lot of polling on our Facebook page with this one, and it went a direction I wasn't anticipating, but.
Yeah, so according the people that voted on Facebook chose the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The people that voted on Twitter were more in favor of Spider-Man. But when tallying both polls, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles took it. So Spider-Man is now off the list with TMNT to go on with their second win, yes. Putting them in third place with other people that have won twice. I was surprised. I mean, if I'm being honest, I think I know I was supposed to argue for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but I would have given it to Spider-Man any day of the week.
Right.
With basically any version of the Turtles, like just base Peter Parker, I still would give him the win.
Right.
But you guys voted and you decided, so Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles goes on.
I can see it being like a fun, like, crossover animated style. I think it'd be a fun thing.
I think it would be fun, but I don't think they can take on Spider-Man.
Bro, I get it. But anyway, Turtles move
But
on.
anyway, so this week we are doing Bender Bending
Bending
Rodriguez
Rodriguez versus Conan.
versus Conan.
Conan.
One of the rules we're allowed to pick which version. I assume you're just going for basic
Just
animated.
basic Bender.
Yeah, because I can't think of it. Maybe there's a Futurama comic out there, but I don't know it.
But it's same canonical universe. It's
Yeah,
just
right.
Bender.
So I'm going with 616 Conan the Barbarian.
Oh boy.
Well, it's the one I know.
Right.
I mean, I could go with this movie, I guess, or I could go with the cartoon. But I mean, the one I know best is definitely the Marvel Comics one. I mean, I could go back to the Pulp comic and all that back when he was in magazines and stuff like that. But it's kind of still the same character.
It's the same character. Yeah.
Well, but yeah. So anyway, why do you think Bender can take on Conan?
I can just picture Bender just wandering into some encampment, just trying to oogle the ladies and their loincloths and their furs, and just Conan bursting in, just raw and fight. It's Bender. God, he'll just chug whatever fucking chamber pot is near him and light Conan on fire and just walk away with the ladies and just be done with it. He's nigh invulnerable. There's not much you can do to Bender.
That's not true.
He's
been fucked up so many times in that show.
He will.
He got slashed and then he couldn't move his legs. That big thing crushed him that one time. He runs away from getting stabbed.
He is unkillable.
He's not he's a robot, so he can be put back together. But when we allow things like just getting beaten,
right?
I mean, I don't have to kill him. I mean, I think Conan could, but okay. Here's why I think Conan would win. Okay, Bender is stronger, no question. I would see him bending giant bars and things like that. Conan is strong, but Bender's strong. Conan is considered to be, he's peak human, but he's also beyond peak a lot of the time. It's been said that he's physically one of the most powerful humans who's ever lived, without superpowers, obviously. Most people describe him as having the strength of 10 men, sometimes 20 men. He's not like superhuman. He kind of is.
No, he's superhuman.
He's got peak human durability.
Put him as like a barbarian Captain America.
Yeah, but he's kind of beyond. Because Captain America is definitely peak. This is what I mean. Conan's supposed to be peak, but he definitely goes beyond it. Even his skull, like he's taking hits that should have split a human skull, but he's just like gets up.
Right.
He's also resistant to poison. Not that I guess Bender could try and poison him. I don't know.
Well, Bender's could release his little micro mini benders, but
yeah. Well, yeah, they were against him though as well. But Conan, he's also got like superior endurance. His speed and agility is actually preternatural. He has greater speed and agility than any man his size should, and it's usually compared to a jungle cat.
Okay.
And he also has enhanced senses. He was born and raised in the dark gray hills of Samaria and spent much time outdoors as both a necessity and a form of leisure. As such, he's developed a sense of vision, smell, that he could smell purple lotus, a drug in wine, and his hearing is several times more acute than those of a civilized human. I mean, his abilities, he's a master athlete, master warrior. He has wilderness instinct. He's multilingual.
He can identify what dung that is. Yes.
Well, so he's been raised as a barbarian. Conan had from time of birth to nurture survival instinct lost to most other humans. This very instinct has saved his life on many occasions and making him an even more formidable warrior. He's multilingual. He's also a master of stealth because he was trained by ninjas as well. He doesn't really have any standard equipment.
He uses a sword.
Well, but in the movie, he uses tons of different kinds of swords. I mean, sometimes you'll see him with an axe. He does favor, I would say, a bastard sword.
Right.
But I don't know if we could really call that generally he gets around on horseback, though he's ridden lions and all sorts of stuff. Supposedly a spirit animal is a lion. Here's why I think he wins. So Bender's stronger. Conan's probably more agile. He's definitely a better fighter, but I don't see Bender ever learning combat.
No.
Because he's too lazy.
Right.
I don't know if he would go after women. He would definitely go after Jules. Because
Right.
Conan's the only human woman Bender's ever been into is Lucy Liu. Which he keeps in his stomach.
Lucy Liu.
Yeah, but so Conan wins because let's say, yeah, it's a good premise. Bender shows up to steal from Conan's like horde,
Right.
and Conan shows up and he's like, he thinks he's some kind of, well, he's been to the future, so he knows he's a robot.
Right.
Bender's nothing compared to Conan. Bender is Tuesday. I'm sorry, Conan takes on dark gods that can like end realms.
This is Bender who can detach an arm and just, while Conan's distracted, do the classic like Three Stooges slapstick where he kind of taps him on the shoulder, looks, and just pokes him in the eyeballs, and just takes his shit and just lights him on fire and walks away type deal.
Yeah, but I mean, Conan, no more flames, and then he goes, yeah, like he does in the thing. Conan's gonna slice him into little pieces. Bender's gonna be like, oh god, and then he's gonna like take his money, and he's gonna be like, yeah, sorry, like, and that's gonna be the fight. Bender is just out of his league here. I mean, he's been beaten. He's strong, yeah.
So if you overclock Bender, he's become a god. So he can also scale up if needed. So
he became a god to a tiny race of people. Not that he was a god.
No. He overclocked his processor when he used like a water cooler
I remember
thing.
That, yeah.
And that was in one of the later seasons, but I still think classic Bender without all the mods can take Conan. It just,
no way.
Bender's
because what is he? How?
He's just through dumb Bender slapstick. It'll be dumb. It'll be something that Conan can't.
He is formidable against stupid people that aren't stronger than, or aren't not stronger, not in terms of muscle, but stronger
right
in terms of a warrior.
Right.
He outdoes all those people against someone that actually is smart, calculating, is a skilled warrior, and has no problem taking down constructs, robots, things like that. Has fought alongside people like Thor. Bender's just not in that realm. If Conan was an idiot barbarian, then I absolutely agree. That's not Conan. And that's what I'm saying. Conan is Bender's out of his depth here.
You know what Bender would do? He would call in Blue Lion from his previous battle to come and just smush Conan, and he'll run off with his lioness, and they'll go make robot babies behind the shaky
Blue Lion. I don't know who Blue Lion is.
No, from the previous battle when he fought Voltron. Remember?
Oh, well, yeah.
Hashtag callback. Hashtag joke.
I got it now. But okay. I agree that Bender is a formidable opponent. I just think the second you put Bender up against, and we've seen this in the show, Futurama. Anytime Bender goes up against someone that doesn't suck ass, he becomes this coward that runs away. Like he's like, and we've seen it. Like even the Lucy Liu episode that we were up, and she's like, "Oh, you're such a tough robot," and he's like, well, and then something scary. He's like, ah! and like,
it'd be funny if Lucy Liu inside his gut says, you know what, you tag me, and he like takes out her head and swaps it with his head, and it's Lucy Liu's head with Bender body, and she whoops the shit out of Conan. That'd be cool.
I think you're really vastly underestimating Conan. Like, have you never really read any of the comics?
I've couple, but not a whole lot.
Yeah, it's just like, and Conan is someone that, like, he's an official Avenger.
Nice.
I mean,
so's the guy who shoots arrows. Bender can bend girders, so Bender can easily fit.
I would say Hawkeye takes down Bender too, just because, like I said, I think Bender's weakness is he's a lazy coward. Leela could beat up Bender. And she has.
Right.
And that's what I mean. And Leela is good, but she's not on their levels.
Right.
And we should have put Leela on the list. Maybe if we do another list.
I thought we did. Leela. No, we did.
Did we?
Yeah, Leela beat Yoda, or Yoda beat.
Who did she lose to? I don't know.
No,
I'll
I
check the
think I
list.
think she lost to Luke Skywalker or somebody.
No.
Hmm.
Well, anyway, yeah, my whole argument is just Bender is out of his league here. The Bender is efficient, and I get what you're saying because there's that kind of like he comes out on top,
That
like
that
he ends up he's
improvisation
walking
just
away
right.
with the jewels. But the thing is, that same consistent thing in Futurama is every time we see him go up against someone formidable, he loses. And then the because it's usually paid for that same joke of like oh god and like
Right.
and then if we ignore I guess plot armor and those kind of aspects
Mm.
and we just look at it on paper um Conan again a robot with superior strength is not really anything to Conan. Like I said, he takes down dark gods that like can threaten entire realms and things like that.
Right.
And that's what I mean. But that's my opinion. But go ahead. What's your final
I,
argument?
I still think Bender is, even though he's outclassed in certain ways, I think he could still find a way to cleverly come on top, whether it be by detaching one of his limbs to just take advantage of a situation. I can see Bender playing dead while Conan lords over him, and hand detaches and or an eyeball detaches and just steals a thing and somehow gets away. Um,
Look, I do think Bender will live.
mhm.
I think he will survive. I 100% am with you there. I don't think he's going to win the fight, though, and that's the problem.
Right. Well, it is
Um,
up to the fans to vote. So,
yeah, we'll put up polls on Twitter and Facebook as well as you can just message us. You can leave a comment, however you want to do it. Let us know who you think won the debate, ideally. But if you just want to put your favorite character, that's fine too.
right.
I do think the fans will vote towards Bender personally,
I mean,
but
we'll see. I mean, I was surprised with the Spider-Man vote.
me too. I'm bummed that Spider Man's not on the list, to be honest.
Yeah, he was a fun character. I rolled a 30.
All right.
Right.
So we're
300.
rolling for our next one. Let's see. 30, 30. Oh, you've been saying she shouldn't be on the list for the longest time, but you got her.
No.
You got Squirrel Girl, which is going to be a huge challenge for me. Let's see who I get.
Dr. Manhattan.
This is going to be a tough one. It's two comic characters. Squirrel Girl takes on Green Lantern. First time fighting for both of them. So let's see who comes out on top.
Okay.
I wonder how I'm going to argue Squirrel Girl. Like that's I was hoping I'd get her because then I could just take the week off and be like, Squirrel Girl wins because she's Squirrel Girl.
Right. She should not be on the list.
Which version do you know you're going to go with?
I don't think it matters.
It does. I mean, different Squirrel Girls fight differently.
Right. I don't know yet.
The recent like comic, The Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, she doesn't win so much by doing the whole off panel thing. She wins by like Galactus shows up and she's like, "Hey, let's be friends," and then she takes him to a different planet where they can eat acorns together, and then like yeah, I mean it's silly. Okay. But anyway, so the Unbeatable Squirrel Girl goes up against Green Lantern.
John Stewart?
I don't know which version I'm going to go with. Kyle Rayner is my favorite, but Hal Jordan is kind of like the classic. I know he's not the first, but he's the classic.
Right.
Definitely probably going to go with a comic one. But yeah, Fear My Power, Green Lantern's Light. I'll come up with something.
Okay.
Anyways, tune in next week for that. That'll be fun. And again, make sure to vote. Let us know who you thought won.
Yes.
All right. So what do we got? Should we jump into Behold Nerds?
Yeah, let's do it. So
all right.
I'll take the lead on this one. So Behold Nerds is our weekly segment where we each take turns picking some type of medium for us to watch, and we encourage you to watch at home. This week was the Adam Driver movie 65. I don't think this had a theatrical run. I think it was just a streaming, I think.
I was in theaters.
Was it in theaters?
Yeah.
I wasn't aware that it was in theaters. this is Mr. Frosty's pick. Mr. Frosty, we both hadn't seen this movie.
Yeah, so I saw the trailer a long time ago. I wanted to see it in theaters, but I have trouble getting around because of my health issues, so I didn't see it. The trailer looked really cool.
Mm.
And so when it finally got on Prime, where I could rent it for $6, I was like, okay, let's make it in our Behold Nerds, because I had wanted to see it. Then I saw it. So what are my opinions?
So pause really quick. So I was worried because I thought that this was a Netflix exclusive. Or I'm sorry, not Netflix, a Hulu exclusive. So when I went to go check the Hulu account down here, it had been signed off from the Mrs. Cap's account, and she hadn't logged back in yet. So fortunately, I was able to watch it on YouTube. But when I did,
you watched it on YouTube? Oh, you rented it.
I rented it on YouTube. But when I started to play it, it was one of those things for the I think for the blind, because it was saying everything that was on screen for some reason. Like that was the default. So it's like,
oh, right.
A light twinkles and reveals a logo. Sony. We're traveling through a gaseous cloud of tendrils through the infinite cosmos, and this archer does a thing, and it was bizarre, and I had to Google it to find out how to turn it off, and I guess it was something with the default with the stereo settings. So got that figured out, and then I watched the movie.
Well, okay, here's my opinion. Was it a good movie? No. Was it a bad movie? Not quite. And I mean, I put it right there. I don't think it was a good movie. Okay, here's the thing. My biggest issue with this movie is spoilers, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So when it starts, they're like, we had this whole sequence leading up to the title, and I kind of like that in movies. Like I think Pacific Rim did it the best.
Yeah.
But so they do this thing where they're like, 65 million years ago, a traveler came to Earth, and like Earth stays on the screen for a long time.
Right. Uncomfortable amount of time.
The movie would have been 1,000 times better had they not mentioned Earth at all, and that became the reveal later on. I feel like that was what it was supposed to be. I could be wrong in this, but I feel like that, because Sam Raimi was a producer. There's a lot of good names behind this movie. I forget the director, but he did another movie I really like. It was a $90 million movie, so it was like it had a tight budget. It was done. The runtime was tight. There's a lot of things to like in this movie. The issue I had is thinking of how much that whole opening sequence. I feel like the film, like the studio or the execs and everything, think that we're fucking morons, and like because they were like scared and just how long Earth sat on the screen and everything.
Right.
I was like, do they think we're too dumb to understand that this is Earth? Like they had to explain it to me.
Right.
And they had to explain that these were people that existed and they traveled around and everything, and they were humans but not quite human. And that's what I mean. You had this cool idea. Just show the movie as it is, where he's this guy trying to help his daughter, and then he crashes on a planet. And because the dinosaurs weren't normal dinosaurs I kind of like that. We didn't get. We kind of saw glimpses, and then they became the ones we knew.
Right.
But we saw like giant things like a T-Rex, but it was like not because they had
it was running on 4 legs and like longer necks, kind of sort of with those.
Yeah, and there were different dinosaurs, and like there was raptors, but they were like actual raptor size.
Right.
They weren't the Jurassic Park raptors. So that's what I mean. So I think had they just done the movie and then the reveal at the end was, and like let those things hint that, oh, this is Earth. Oh, 65 million years ago. And then the comment, and oh, I get it. That would have been such a fun thing.
Right.
But they told you it right up front, and they told you it in a way that like, hey, idiot, you're so stupid you won't get this. We're going to have to explain the whole thing to you because you're a fucking moron.
Right.
That is why I hated that part of this movie. And that is the thing I disliked, and that was the thing I took away. The movie itself,
Eh,
I thought it was good in parts, and I thought there was interesting things. I thought Adam Driver carried most of it. I think the movie would have the daughter relationship thing
mhm.
kind of hit or miss for me. I think it would have been cool just to have him surviving on Jurassic Earth. I would have liked more tech first dinosaurs.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like do a tight 90 minutes of Adam Driver fighting dinosaurs and then have a reveal, which is what I thought I was getting, except for the reveal part because the trailer told you it.
Right.
I think the movie would have been better.
Right.
But anyway, that's my opinion. What did you think?
So, I, I I didn't watch too far into the credits, but a part of me was because you know how the credits start and it shows Earth just going through the ages. There's a part of me that thought that they were going to do the thing where they refer back to an earlier scene where the daughter character was drawing stick figure characters on a cave. I was cringing, expecting that to pop up at some point. Maybe if at the end of the credits it does, um, but it didn't happen. So but it could have
What
happened.
do you mean, like that would we saw that today? Because the timeline's too long.
Well,
Those drawings wouldn't exist anymore.
but either way, it's suspend belief, Frosty. Yes.
All right.
So
My brain did that when I saw her doing the cave paintings. I was like, are they going to do a cave painting thing? Because it's like that's
right,
too long. 65 million years, it wouldn't still be there.
right, but
Mm.
it's dumb movie logic. Just
I
I
know.
can
I'm just
suspend
telling
it.
you what my brain did when I saw that.
So either way, at least to my knowledge, it didn't do dumb movie logic, which is good. But it was, you know what this movie needed? I would have swapped out Adam Driver for Norman Reedus. I want to see Norman
I
Reedus
think
fight.
Adam Driver did an excellent job. I think he was the light of this movie. He carried it. I
Yeah,
think he's a good
he
actor,
just
and I think he did a really good
got
job.
the shit kicked out of him the entire movie. He was snapping shit and just, oh,
But I
stop.
kind of like that. I mean, here's I guess I think this movie was not good, but it wasn't bad
It
enough.
wasn't
Like
egregiously bad. It was
that's
just
what I mean.
mediocre
I
bad.
I wasn't like, oh God, when is this going to end? I watched the whole thing and I was engaged in it.
Right.
It's not like a couple of weeks ago, or we did
Oh
Taxi,
God.
and that is a bad movie.
Right.
That I was waiting to end. This I thought it didn't live up to what I wanted it to be, and
Mm,
I think there were ways that it could have been better,
right.
but it wasn't like, oh God, oh God, oh God.
Yeah,
If
it
you've
wasn't
got nothing
offensively
to
bad.
do, yeah, if you've got nothing to do and you're just chilling and maybe you put a pizza in the oven and you want to watch something, $6, rent it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you won't have a terrible time,
No.
but you're not gonna be like, wow, this. It's not like we're like when I was talking Shazam earlier. It was like this is a blast, you
Like
know.
you can walk away and you won't feel like you miss much.
Yeah, yeah. I would be disappointed had I seen it in theaters, despite wanting to see it in theaters. Had I gone to pay the extra money and taken the, I would have been like, well, that wasn't worth it,
Right.
But for a rental at home, sure.
Right.
Was there anything you liked about it? Like
I the CGI was okay. The dinosaurs.
that is one thing. I don't think it was okay. I think the CGI was actually really good, especially for a $90 million movie. I thought they actually, and I think the reason the CGI was so good, I
Mm,
looked this up. So I was like, why is this so good? It's better than most Marvel shit,
right.
and it's because there was like a hiatus, and so the special effects people had a really long time to work on it, so they
Right.
weren't rushed. And I think why not do they do that with all movies? Give the people to do the time to do their job, you know?
Right. Well, deadlines, Frosty. Deadlines. But
Well, I know, but
so
I
I
also
will
would have
like
liked.
this. So I like, even though we got the obvious T Rexes and the Raptors and just the tropey dinosaur shit, that they made them unique enough to where it separated it from you just like Jurassic Park Raptor from Jurassic Park T Rex. Like you mentioned earlier, like it's running on all fours at one point, almost. I
Yeah, I
mean,
like the different dinosaurs. I think more dinosaurs would have been cool. Also,
yeah,
more tech. I
yeah.
would have
I
liked
would love to see more tech.
because I think the idea of like kind of Halo versus dinosaurs or whatever you want to call it is
Mm,
cool, and I would have liked to have seen more of that. I guess I want more of that, less kid stuff.
right.
And then I think the things I liked also, Adam Driver I thought was excellent. And I actually really thought the ticking clock aspect in the third act
Hmm.
was really cool. Where like, oh, the meteor's about to hit.
Cute little scene when she ties the rope around all the trees. That's just a cute little
That
character.
was okay. Yeah,
That
that
was,
was
that
good.
was
Yeah,
like a little like, oh.
I do think for that child character, she wasn't that bad, and I did kind of like
She
the.
didn't feel it terribly useless. Like, of course, she's going to have to
And
come into some peril. He's going to have to papa
yeah,
bear her, but she didn't feel hopeless the entire.
and the reveal with his daughter, I thought was good.
Mm,
Where like we find out that his daughter was actually died because that was the whole reason he took the mission,
right,
which because he was about to kill himself, and I was like, why are you doing that? And then I realized, oh, his daughter died, and
right.
he has no reason to live anymore. Like, and then finding the girl gave him the reason. Again, I just there's something about the execution that's missing in this movie. That's all.
Right.
And then again, the filmmakers being like, "You're a fucking moron." I think that would have been way, way better.
Right.
I mean, don't you think so? Like, if
Yeah,
you like,
Planet of the Apes. Just
yeah,
that's it. It's okay to retell it because just don't tell us. Yes, we're not idiots. Not all of us are idiots. Um,
well, so I'm interested. I haven't heard a lot of like one person reached out and said they didn't like this movie. That well, I think they said it was trash. I don't think it's
I don't
trash.
think it's
But
trash.
what do you guys think?
It's
Did you
a
like it?
it's a gotta do what you gotta do for me.
Yeah, I was giving a rating. I was gonna say I would say it's Death
it's
by Snoo Snoo is for movies like Taxi.
yeah.
This is definitely firmly in. You got to do what you got to do.
Like it's not offensive enough to be. Oh my god, I'm so mad. It's woke and
I think it's disappointing.
yeah. That's
That I
it.
would give because you it wasn't terrible, but there's the potential for a really cool movie in here.
Right.
I just it feels like anybody who takes on dinosaurs fails, and I don't know why that is. Like,
Because
why
Jurassic
is it
Park.
Jurassic Park is the only good dinosaur movie?
Because
I mean, I honestly can't think of
it,
another.
because it captured the imagination of what it would actually be like to encounter these creatures in real life. It captured that perfectly, and because that exists, I think that sort of sullied it for future dinosaur movies because it's already captured that moment. I guess.
Yeah, I guess, but I think this had the right idea because it was a different way of doing dinosaurs.
It's like landing on the moon. It's like it happens the first time, and it's oh my god, we landed on the moon, and then after that, it's like, all right, like it will never live up to that first time when we landed on the moon with the anticipation, the suspense, and just all of it. It's that was what.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there are good dinosaur movies that could happen because dinosaurs are just cool monsters,
Right.
and there's plenty of cool monster movies out there.
Right.
I just think that I've really been getting into monster movies lately. I don't know what it is. I rewatched The Meg and I rewatched
I
Rampage.
was gonna say you
And I
don't
had
really like monster movies that much, do you? I thought you
me.
did.
I love monster
Oh, I thought.
movies. Yeah.
No, never mind. I was thinking.
But yeah, I've just been like late. I don't know. I watched Rampage, which I don't think is a good movie either, but I think it's a fun movie.
Right.
And
It was all right.
or watch it again sometime. Just put it on when you're eating pizza, and just rewatch it. Just don't like expect anything, and all of a sudden you have fun with it.
Right.
And then I didn't like the Meg, even though people said the same thing. What I'm saying, like, oh, the Meg is a fun movie,
Mm.
and I was like, this movie sucked. I think because I think a while I got too cynical about movies. Now I'm more lighthearted.
Mm.
And I rewatched the Meg recently, and I was like, man, the Meg is a fun movie. You know? Did you see the Meg?
Yeah, I saw the Meg. Mrs.
Yeah,
Cat loves the Meg. I
yeah,
think she
it's a
has the
fun.
book.
Also, why is it? Let me just put this out there. Why is Hey Mickey? Why does that song slap so much harder in Thai? You know, like Hey Mickey, Georgia, like, I apologize if that came off racist.
That was horribly offensive, and you just upset Twitter and the Snyder fans all in one.
Yeah. Well, I don't care about the Snyder fans, but to normal human. No, I'm just messing. I know a lot of you guys that support our show are big Snyder fans, and we really appreciate that. And you guys are the exception.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't say exception. I do love Snyder's movies. I just could you guys
Just
chill. Let me enjoy James Gunn, please. Just stop
right.
trying to shit on the man.
Both can inhabit the same body. You can
Yeah.
enjoy both things. It's not a competition.
Anywho, so yeah, but let us know what you guys thought. Dying to know. I like I said, I think this movie is firmly planted, and you got to do what you got to do. I would highly suspect this was studio involvement that kind of caused what could have been the cool part of the movie
Right.
to like
Be
not
spelled
happen.
out. Yeah, the
Yeah,
text in the beginning was weirdly. It
it wasn't even
lingered.
just a
It
text thing.
lingered. Yeah.
It was the lingering. Yeah, that was like extra,
It just
like.
like
But I mean, like, oh, someone visited our planet. Like, just don't tell us.
right,
We're not stupid. We would have figured it out.
right,
There was enough dinosaurs that were familiar that you were like, wait, is that a T-Rex?
right.
You know what I mean? And like they even you could kind of not see them and stuff. Like that's what I mean. There was a lot of cool. It would have been a cool reveal, kind of like what is that? The Sixth Sense or something. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right, right.
I mean, maybe we would have been sat here going, "Oh, I knew it from the beginning." But even if like that was the case, like another movie that fucked this up, Terminator 2. Even though Terminator 2 is a brilliant movie,
Mm.
Terminator 2, the marketing, they showed you right away that, oh, he's a good guy.
Right.
And the way the film was shot, though, you were kind of wondering at the
If he was
beginning.
actually going to be
But unfortunately, we knew ahead of time. And I think this movie has that same problem, you know?
right. So
Um,
my favorite scene was at the end when they're fighting the two T Rexes and Adam Driver gets the gun to work, and then he's shooting the T Rexes, and then all of a sudden fucking Uncle Rico shows up, like the even bigger T Rex that's running on all
yeah.
fours. Like it was funny. Like I thought it was dumb, but it was funny because comedy comes in threes. So it took out the two T Rexes, and all of a sudden, here comes the Papa T Rex. Just it was dumb. It was fun. I thought it was clever how they took it out at the end with the rest of the guys.
The part that I was wondering, because I always talk about Chekhov's guns,
Right.
and when she dips the tooth
Mm-hmm.
in poison, the big dinosaur tooth or bone or something,
Right.
and then she puts it in her bag, and then like they kind of already had the big monster battle,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was expecting the next part to be like more like a disaster film where they were like, oh, we're trying to get out
Right.
and there's all these asteroids and
Right.
everything. And then and I was like, oh, so I guess that was an unfired gun. When is that going to happen? And then the T-Rex scene happened, and then like finally she
Yeah,
stabs
she
it, and
stabbed him
I
in
was
the
like,
eye with
oh,
the payoff. Yes.
yeah, like it worked. I mean,
Right.
again, I think there are things in this movie I liked. I just don't think I can call it a good movie.
Like the third act was fun.
Third act was pretty
Third
good,
act was
yeah,
funny.
and
Yeah.
So anyway, you get next pick. So what would you like?
So I'm
to
not sure if
select?
you've seen this, but I wanted to see it, but then didn't see it. But then fellow nerd Adrian says that he saw it and he said it was great. We're watching Megan.
Megan?
Yes. So that'd be the
Oh, the horror movie with the doll,
yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah, I don't choose to watch horror movies generally speaking.
So
I don't dislike them, but
this one, after doing a little bit of homework, seems like more of a satire of the genre, and it feels almost like a RoboCop s style of the satire humor, just
Mhm.
told through this type of horror doll. Yes, time. We finish at 12:30, and then we're gonna go. She's not coming.
I just remembered the guys that did 65. The director, no, not the director, the writer. The writer was the one that did Quiet Place.
Okay.
That's what I mean. The people behind this movie are all good.
There's good
like,
pedigree. It's just you can see where
I
the
think
studio is.
I really believe it. The film, the studio fucked it up. But anyway, Megan. Yeah, no, that's cool.
Yeah.
So join us next week where we will be discussing Megan. Ideally, we'd like you guys to watch it and let us know your opinions. If you've already seen it, rewatch it. That's the idea.
Yes.
And then we will discuss. Let's see, we got about 15 minutes left.
I have a question.
Okay.
Top 3 favorite Simpson episodes.
Well, my top one, I don't know about three, but my top one Simpsons episode, if
Mm,
I could just have that one perfect episode,
right.
is the Scorpio one.
The
By
Hank
far.
Scorpio. Okay.
That one is just I don't know why I can watch it again and again and again.
Mm,
Every scene is just laced perfectly with jokes.
right.
Every joke I just like it's jokes that I repeat over and over and over again. I
Right.
mean, just the stuff like, you know, where he's like he hands him his jacket and then he's like, I didn't even hand you my jacket. It was clearly on
It's on
backwards.
backwards.
Yeah. And then he's like, he's like, sugar, and he's like, he reaches in his pocket. Do you want cream? No. You know what I mean? Like every scene is just perfect, and I just think that's the perfect Simpsons episode. Even though it doesn't take place in Springfield so much,
Right.
it's
It doesn't need to.
it
It's
doesn't need to. Yeah, it's so good. I mean, like, yeah, I can't think of a better episode than that. I have others that I like, but
Mhm.
yeah, that's my.
So for me, it's definitely the X Files episode. Fellow nerd Dan came over last night. We just were enjoying some old Simpsons.
Well, you're a huge X Files fan anyway, so I can see why you love that.
Oh,
Point.
but it was so beautifully done. The joke to minute
I
ratio.
do love Mo with the killer whale in the background.
Ah, Jesus, the feds! Get back to Seal. Come on, get! Oh.
Die. Like, nah.
so freaking love it.
I honestly don't think you can go wrong with most like basically season maybe 2 through 9
right.
are like you can watch any of them and you're gonna have a good
They're
time.
just great. But Simpsons is one of those shows where I loved, but I just haven't really watched recently. I definitely haven't been tuning into the newer season. I just don't care. It's
Every once in a while I'll watch them because I'm like downstairs, so I have to. I entertain my cat and I take pills and I have to like kind of knock myself out. So I put on I take his toy and I just flick it while watching stuff on TV downstairs.
Mhm.
And if I don't have anything to watch, I think Disney Plus and I'll put on a later season's episode of The Simpsons just to see what's happening, and I still have a good time. I just don't think that it can hold a candle to what it once was. But because like those are perfect. Those early seasons like 2 through 9,
right.
they're kind of untouchable.
So I don't know why, but recently one of my favorite characters lately has been Barney. I love Barney. It just, hey, Joey Jojo. I've been laughing at that so hard, like for the past week, and then we want Chili Willy. I love it.
I like honorable mention the Apu episode where he gets fired from the Quickie Mart.
Who needs
And
a Quickie Mart?
yeah, it's like I like it. I don't know, like for whatever reason, it's just like I remember like milk coming out my nose when this joke. Yeah, like he's about to do his dance, a song and dance and stuff, and then like Grandpa Simpson, hello, and then he grabs the cane and starts spinning it around. Ah! Like just that for some reason, just yeah.
So
Okay, I got a question for you in the rant thing. This
all
is
right.
a thinker.
All right.
What and we actually got a prominent YouTuber questioned me on my decision here.
Okay.
So what non-Star Wars character
Okay.
do you think would make a good Sith?
Non-Star Wars character who would make a good Sith. Ooh.
I'll give you my answer while you think.
All right.
So I thought Franklin Richards.
Oh yeah.
And,
Okay.
And follower of our channel and YouTuber. It's been like 2 years since he's posted anything, but when he does, his videos are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
The Imaginary Access Tyler, he said Franklin, a Sith, he's such a pure soul though. But here's the reason I think he would make a good Sith.
Mm-hmm.
So he's this ultra powerful child,
right,
with fear issues that turn into anger because he's worried about his parents who always go off and take on these really powerful, crazy things, getting hurt. And sometimes when that happens, Franklin gets scary as fuck.
Right.
And that's what I
That's
mean.
that's what
He
that's
reminds me a lot of another famous Sith. And that's why I say Franklin Richards would make a great Sith. Because I could totally see a powerful entity coming along and be like, good. And then
good.
the feel you, the release your hate, you know?
Right.
And all that. And then all of a sudden he's this Sith reality warper.
Right.
I mean, like, yeah. So I think Franklin Richards. Who do you think?
So because of the dichotomy of the characters, I am going to dive into the Harry Potter universe and give it to one Mr.
Oh, interesting.
Neville Longbottom, who is the supposed to be. He was like also could have been the chosen one.
Yeah.
He's the one that sort of would overcome and be the brave one, but he was also very scared at the same time.
That was like a theory at the time that he was supposed to be it and all that, and I remember that.
Yeah. So I can see him having a bad day. Plus, his parents are fucked up. Like he's got the origin story. Like there is the potential there. It's just he doesn't know how to control his power. He's always kind of been the clumsy one. But I can see somebody coming along and being yes, and yeah, I think that's my answer. Neville Longbottom, Harry Potter.
Follower of the show, Super Killer Comics, at Real Super Killers. His suggestions were Skeletor, Doctor Doom, Alucard, and Reverse Flash. I think those are all good, but they're kind of
on the nose. So you need that.
On the nose.
You need that element of fear, like Batman. Ooh, Batman would make a good like alternate universe Batman who just relies too heavy on the fear, almost like a bat metal kind of sort of maybe.
Yeah. I get you, but I mean, I don't know. I see Batman. He's got that monk training and stuff like that, so
yeah,
he's a little too in the middle, I guess. I don't see him going full dark side. I don't see him going
he'd
full
be a
light
great
side.
Jedi. Yes, look them up.
Okay, well, so that's the other flip of this is who do you think would make a good Jedi that's from fiction? I was gonna say because I think Batman does have that fear and darkness and everything like that, but in maybe not him, but I think Nightwing would make a brilliant Jedi because he had that, but he overcame it and it didn't taint him. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's still this kind of pure being, and also just in DC lore, he's never bad. He's always good. He's the only one that is that.
Right.
And so I think that's a cool idea.
Ooh. This one's hard.
What do you think is harder going Jedi?
Yeah. Just
another one that would
here's
be
a good one. Yeah, this will tie the bridge. Wesley Crusher. Yes.
Okay.
Just here's this plucky kid who just finds himself on an adventure, and yes, nobody's quite sure who his father is. Yes, there's my answer. Wesley Crusher.
All right. I also think Link.
Oh, Link would make a good Jedi
because he's pretty much just a pure soul. Yeah, I could totally see him doing it. But yeah, let's see what else. 4 minutes. Also in my rants, I keep thinking we should review this. I haven't seen the whole thing, but I watched the first two. Maybe you're not even aware that it's out. You know, there's a sequel to Star Wars Visions, right?
Really?
Yeah. Star Wars Visions 2. It's same deal where they do different animators and everything. Oh. I saw the first one. It was great.
So this has been one of the best things that's come out of Star Wars before, including The Mandalorian. I loved the Star Wars Visions, the first ones. It was unexpectedly good.
Yeah. Well, the second one is I can't speak for all of them. I haven't seen it yet, all of them yet. But I watched the first one. Fantastic. Totally recommend watching it. I guess that falls into reviews, but yeah, I mean, if you want to watch it as well, maybe we can talk about it next week or something. Yeah. Really fun. Same thing. Different animators, different styles, different takes on things, but I mean, it's loose. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's the first one. There was this anime battle. I didn't care. You know what I mean?
The Legends of Star Wars.
Yeah, it's fun to take something and to throw it into different styles, you know what I
Right.
mean? And have different takes on it. My favorite was the guy with the katana. I
That's
thought he was really cool.
right. My favorite
That
was
like
still the one that was making fun or in the style of oh my goodness, Speed Racer,
yeah.
where I hated it at first, but then once I realized, oh, that's what they're doing, and you just accept it. It's fantastic. Like,
Yeah.
super cool battle.
I think a lot of the time with things you kind of have to
Allow it.
appreciate things for what they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Just
I mean, if you go in going like, "Oh, this is terrible," then you probably won't like it. But if you can go in, although sometimes it surprises you. Like I was so down to hate the movie that I was thinking was Real Steel.
mm-hmm,
I was so down to hate Real Steel.
mm-hmm.
And I remember I begrudgingly watched it and I was like, oh, this is gonna suck. And then by the end of the movie, I was like, go, you can
Go,
do it.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Hugh
was totally
Jackman
rooting.
on his iPad Pro, trying to do the Rock'em Sock'em robot. This is fun.
Yeah, well, remember it had that shadow feature, so he was boxing alongside it and stuff
Right.
like that. Oh, it was a fun movie.
Right.
But yeah, it's a movie I've seen like 3 or 4 times because I had such a good time. But that's what I mean. Like, so sometimes the flip of that happens where you're like, this is going to be terrible, and then it surprises you how good it is.
Right.
Um, Maybe that's what will happen with the Little Mermaid. I don't know.
Happen to Indy 5. That's what I want to happen.
Yeah, it's all the reviews I've seen on that are saying it's good. It just doesn't quite get there, which I think is true of a lot of movies, really.
Right.
But Shazam, fun movie,
Nice.
fun movie.
Well, we should
What
probably...
movies are you looking forward to seeing that are coming out soon?
I want to see the Flashpoint movie. Fuck
Yeah,
you
me
all.
too.
I don't care about box. I'm gonna go see it. Good
Yeah,
grief,
I'm
it's
gonna go
Michael
see it.
fucking Keaton. Damn it.
I know, yeah, it's Keaton. Although I did see someone, the guy, I forget his name, the actor who played, even though I didn't like the movie, but the in Watchmen, the guy who played the comedian.
Oh, Jeffrey D. Morgan. Yep.
Yeah, I think it would have been cool. Don't get me wrong. I am super. I want to hug Keaton right now.
Right.
I'm happy with what I got
Right.
or what I'm getting.
But
Don't get me wrong.
right.
But someone posted this idea on Twitter, and I was like, wow, that would have been cool.
Have him be Thomas Wayne.
Thomas Wayne. And then fortunately, I hate to keep shitting on you guys in this episode, and I'm sorry. Snyder kind of ruined it because imagine if we had the Batman we knew,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden, maybe don't even let us know, and then have a red-eyed. I mean, we would know because we're comic fans, but
right.
Imagine if you weren't, and a red-eyed, glowing-eyed Batman, twin guns, played by him, shooting the shit out of everybody. It would have, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I think he's perfect for the role of Thomas Wayne.
Super perfect. I liked him as Negan until they fucked up the character, but
yeah,
it's. I know, but we're happy with what we're getting. I'm excited for it. I want to see the Beast Wars movie, but I know it's not going to live up to the spiritual its origins. But
well, I think that it's not going to because that show for you, I think I might enjoy it. I don't think it'll ever live up to it because for you that show is like part of your being. Like you loved it, and I think it translates to like your own creativity.
right.
And that happens with me. Like I don't think you'll ever make a Hitchhiker's Guide movie or show or anything
right.
that'll ever reach what that novel means to me. You know
right.
what I mean? And I think Beast Wars is kind of the same thing for you.
Oh, but Beast, it's I get it. It's just it's so good. But anyways, we are at that moment, and I have a teenager who wants to go to the fair with her friends. So we are.
Oh, that's fun.
I know it's going to be a fun little day. Anyways, for those who
we didn't do our pitches. Okay, that's fine. We'll do them next week.
That's fine. Tune in next week for Superman. We're doing Battle Nerds. Oh my goodness, Squirrel Girl versus Green Lantern. Don't forget to vote for who you think won the death battle between Conan the Barbarian versus Bending Rodriguez. Like all of our shit, get the little fun animatic. Reach out to us on our social medias. Say hi. Let us know what you're thinking, what you're watching, what you're doing, what you want us to watch. Blah, blah, blah. We do like to end on a nerdy note with a nerdy quote by Mr. Frosty. Mr. Frosty, take us away.
All right, well, ask me what is best in life.
What is best in life?
To crush your enemies, to see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentations of the women.